will be turned into a black disease. It's not that the majority of black people will get it. It's not that the majority of victims will be black, but it will be turned into a black disease. I called it. Is that when you start using celebrities in their high profile, people will believe it. People will pick it up and they will believe what they're saying. So to end this,
we celebrate true heroes, those who are making the ultimate sacrifice to keep us all safe, fed, and healthy. To the doctors, the nurses, and other healthcare workers who are away from their families, taking care of ours, we continue to pray for your safety. To those in the food industry, delivery workers, mail carriers, and sanitation employees who are working so that we can be safe in our homes, we thank you for your selfless service. Black Americans disproportionately belong to these essential parts of the workforce that do not have the luxury of working from home. And African American communities at large have been severely affected in this crisis. Those with pre-existing conditions are at an even higher risk. This virus is killing Black people at an alarmingly high rate here in America. A recent report from my home city, Houston, Texas, it showed that COVID-19 deaths within Houston city limits, 57% of fatal cases are African American. Please protect yourselves. We are one family and we need you. We need your voices, your abilities, and your strength all over this world. I know it's very hard, but please be patient, stay encouraged, keep the faith, stay positive, and continue to pray for our heroes. Good night and God bless you.
Okay, she states that 57% of fatal cases in Houston, Texas are African American. I would like to know, how did she get that number? Is it something that she researched? Did she read up about it? Or did most likely someone told her this? So she cannot really verify that. When you're making claims like that, what you have to look at and what you have to investigate, was that particular area that she's referring to, Houston, Texas, is it a predominantly black area? And secondly of all, what are the ratio of people who they tested it against? Did they test an equal number of blacks, whites, Hispanics, Asians, and Indians? Example, did you test what was the number? What was the number of ratio of this 50% that you tested against other groups right there? Because 50% does not mean anything. You can oversample people. You can actually primarily focus on, as I told you once before, the area. If it's predominantly a black area, predominantly black hospitals with predominantly black clientele, that 50% kind of goes out of the window. So therefore, you must be very careful with numbers.
Black Americans disproportionately belong to these essential parts of the workforce that do not have the luxury of working from home. And African American communities at large have been severely affected in this crisis. Those with pre-existing conditions are at an even higher risk. This virus is killing Black people at an alarmingly high rate here in America. A recent report from my home city, Houston, Texas, it showed that COVID-19 deaths within Houston city limits, 57% of fatal cases are African American. Please protect yourself.
Well, good afternoon, and welcome to another edition of Seen and Beyond. This is another edition of Another One Bites the Dust. And unfortunately, as I have predicted previously, that the U.S. government, with the aid of a black Surgeon General, Jerome Adams, with the aid of the CDC and all the rest of the cronies, that they will put the blame of COVID-19 on black people. They would switch it around and make this to be a black disease. Now, it talks about how Beyonce highlights the deadly impact of coronavirus on the Black Americans during a One World concert. And as you see, what she spoke on that in the previous videos in which I showed you. However, I'm going to debunk some of the things that she said and prove to you that they are incorrect. But let me just tell you one thing, though. This is the reason why I do not like the idea of celebrities, singers, famous people, rich celebrities, speaking out for the Black community or trying to be spokespersons. Because very few have done any type of research. They have not looked at things objectively. They have not looked at other side of the coin. Now, who got Beyonce to speak up? I want to show you something right here. This is how the Surgeon General got Kylie Jenner to talk about on her Instagram about social distancing. It's no doubt that the Surgeon General reached out to Beyonce, reached out to Oprah, reached out to Diddy, and asked them to do a public service announcement as to how this disease is affecting the Black community. Now, I need to show you some things to debunk what Beyonce stated. Here goes again right here. Surgeon General Jerome Adams is begging Kylie Jenner to help stop the spread of coronavirus, which she did a live stream. She did a live stream on it to talk about the impact of COVID-19. I want to show you something right here, though. This talks about diabetes, though, but we need to come back to that. Okay, coronavirus update. COVID-19 is a serious public health threat. Older adults and patients with serious chronic medical conditions, including diabetes, are at higher risk of becoming ill. That's what they said right there, right? And then they go on to say that basically there are 74% of Americans typically die of 10 diseases. And it's been that constant for the past 10 years, with the number one being heart disease, number two being cancer, number three being unintentional injuries, number four, chronic lower respiratory disease. By the way, they love listing asthma as a reason for Blacks, but for some reason they leave out emphysema and bronchitis. I wonder why. Number five, stroke and cerebral vascular disease. Number six, Alzheimer's disease. Number seven, diabetes. We're going to go back to that one. Number eight, influenza, pneumonia. Number nine, kidney disease. Number 10, suicide. And there's one other, 11 would be by default. That's drug overdose. And the majority of people who do that are going to emergency room for drug overdose are not Black. Now let's go to this right here. I'm going to go back to diabetes right there, because what they claim is that that's primarily a Black disease. And I'm going to show you that that's a lie right there. Watch this, because we've been told that. It says diabetes is a devastating disease that is affected by independent genetic, socio-economic, cultural, historical factors in the United States. Nearly 26 million Americans are living with diabetes, and another 79 million Americans have pre-diabetes. This means that 1/3 of the total U.S. population is affected by diabetes. Watch this. Remember this right there? 26 million Americans are living with diabetes, another 79 million. And we've been told the lie that is primarily an African American disease. It's a pre-existing condition. But lo and behold right here, 4.9 million African American adults, 18% of all African Americans 20 years of age have been diagnosed or underdiagnosed diabetes, compared to 7.1% of non-Hispanic whites. But check this out. They just said that 26 million Americans are living with diabetes. But right here, it states right there, 4.9 million African American adults over the age of 20 have been diagnosed or undiagnosed diabetes. So therefore, the majority of the people with diabetes are not Black. Then it goes on to list the ratio for Hispanic or Latino Americans. It goes 11.8%. Then it goes on the list for Asians. It goes 8.4% for Asians. But lo and behold, listen, there's nothing about white or Caucasian. They don't mention it. And this is the prevalent theme right there. When they do not want you to know something, they just erase it. They don't mention it at all. That's called statistical sleight of hand. Let's pass this up right there. And now what we're going to get into. So therefore, that proves right then and there that, by the way, all of these diseases right here that they're listing right there, all of these diseases right there are primarily affecting the white population more than the black population. The reason being, white Americans are 60% of the U.S. population. Black Americans are 12% of the U.S. population. They switch it around because they're giving you the false narrative that whites are the beacons of health and fitness in America. I want to show you right here. By the way, another thing that's always listed is that the jobs that blacks have. It is the jobs that blacks have. We're going to have to go back through this right here. Because what I want to show you right here is Walmart. It says Walmart store locators. And if you look at the blue dots right here, this is primarily where Walmarts are located in the United States of America. All the blue dots right there. Right here, another graph is just put them in gold. All of these areas right here, are you really going to tell me that the majority of the people who work at these are black? No, they're not. No, they're not. And this goes into the same area where it goes right here. How many fast food restaurants are in the U.S.? There is 247,000 fast food restaurants in the United States of America. I need to show you this right here. This is going to touch on blue-collar jobs. Blue-collar jobs, which they want us to believe that somehow blacks are more affected by being at home, or not being at home, of not being able to work at home, and they have these blue-collar jobs in which they must work at. However, it says a blue-collar worker is a working-class person who performs manual labor. Blue-collar work may involve skilled or unskilled labor. The type of work may involve manufacturing, warehousing, mining, excavation, electricity, generation and power plant operations, custodial work, farming, commercial fishing, logging, landscaping, pest control, food processing, oil field work, waste collections, and disposable, recycling, construction, maintenance, shipping, driving, trucking. These are white-collar jobs. It lists some more right here. It goes into custodial work, mining, textile manufacturing, technical installation, manufacturing, again, construction, commercial fishing, maintenance, sanitation, waste disposal, recycling, mechanical repair, food processing, oil field work, warehousing, textile manufacturing, mining, custodial work. Do you really believe that in the United States of America, where the white workforce is a lot bigger? Well, first of all, it's a majority of white country. The white workforce is a lot bigger. Do you believe that the majority of these workers are black? You got to be a fool to believe that. You really do. That was me. Anyway, let's go right here. Okay. It goes right here, racial percentages of Americans. And it goes right here. It talks about nationally, the largest racial demographic groups as of 2017 were non-Hispanic white, 60.6%, Hispanics, 12%, Asian non-Hispanic, 5.5%. State percentages by population. It goes right there. There's no state in the United States of America where the black population outnumbers the white population. There's no state right there. Once again, it talks about the percentages of racial groups in America. Whites, 60%, blacks, 12%, Asian, non-Hispanic, 5.5%, American Native, 0.7%. So let me touch on this right here, though. Obviously, there's a concerted effort to get the American population, maybe the world, to believe that COVID-19, at least here in the United States and America, is a black disease. And what they have done and what they're doing right now is getting gullible black celebrities who do not do any type of research, studying. They do not read. They do not use critical thinking skills. It seems like they don't even ask others who may have that type of ability. You would think that with all their money, that what they would do, is to hire an investigator, hire writers, hire medical personnel, hire statisticians, hire people who are good with demographic and numbers, who are good with illnesses, and hire them to look into investigative claims as to where these numbers really come from. That would be a lot better. That would be much better than just blurting out numbers that the dominant society tells you to, or to blurt out numbers that the Surgeon General tells you to, because obviously they cannot see that there's a hidden agenda. And that's the problem right there. Where you're a spokesperson, you have influence over millions of people, but you cannot tell that there's a hidden agenda there. I've proven right there in the United States of America that black people, that they are not the majority who work somehow. They cannot work at home. They work these blue collar jobs. That's false right there. They have pre-existing conditions. That's false right there. Whites have more pre-existing conditions than what blacks do. So just be prepared for this. This is just going to go on. They're going to get more celebrities. I mean, they got Diddy, they got Oprah, they got Beyonce, Jay may be coming up. It just seems like to me that it's just so obvious that they are going after high-profile black people who are very influential, who can convince the world, convince other blacks, convince everyone that COVID-19 is a black disease. If you like the information, give me a like, you can comment, and you can subscribe. Until next time.